To the little girl who feels lost and unseen, I see you. To the little girl who feels unheard and ignored, I hear you. To the little girl who feels lost, God has found you. To the little girl who feels hurt, God can and He will heal you. To the little girl who feels unloved and unworthy, God says you're worthy and you are enough. To the little girl who's been sexually abused, God said it wasn't your fault. To the little girl who feels betrayed, God says you have a friend in me. To the little girl who feels scared, God is with you. Queen, I'm here to tell you that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and nothing that you went through has gone wasted. God is using it all. And if you're sitting here asking yourself, how do I know all this, or who am I to sit here and tell you these things? I'm the little girl who's been through and went through what you're going through now. And I just want you to know that God is with you through it all. God bless you, my love. Take care. Hey, loves. Welcome to the Heal Her podcast, where healing is not just a season, but it's a lifestyle. Today, we'll be discussing a little bit about myself, just the backstory, so that you guys can get a little context of where Heal Her comes from. So, I myself was in a foster home. I went to multiple foster homes, I might add. So, I don't really remember a lot about the foster homes because my childhood wasn't so memorable. And because of that, I blocked all of it out, a lot of it out. So, I do have like spare moments where I could remember a little bit of good, but then I also have moments where I remember the bad, and I just choose not to let that part of my life have a hold on me, I should say. But there's a little contradiction to that, and I'm going to explain to you why in a second. So, with me being in those foster homes, I didn't really have like a consistent role model. I didn't have a steady role model except for my sister. Me and her pretty much grew up together because we were constantly in foster homes together. So everywhere I went, she went, or vice versa. I felt like it was nothing but the grace of God. I don't even know how it played out like that because I actually have multiple siblings. I have about 6 sisters and 1 brother. So I feel like that was nothing but the grace of God. Anyway, with me being in those foster homes, like I was saying, I didn't have like consistent role models. So I didn't have anyone to really show me how we are, supposed to act, the things that you're supposed to do, just certain things like that. And so I kind of found my own way of doing things, which I'm not going to say it was always right, but it was my way. And I pretty much was in survival mode. But the purpose of the Heal Her podcast is because I want to be to you young ladies what somebody wasn't to me. And I just want to let you guys know, like, that it's going to be okay. I want to be the one who tells you you're loved. Like, I want to be the one who tells you you're worthy. I want to be the one that tells you you're worth so much more. I want to be the one to give you a high five or pat you on the back virtually, because nobody did those things for me. And because I feel like nobody did those things for me, I grew up looking for that love. I was looking for that validation in all the wrong things, which led to a lot of mistakes, a lot of bad choices, which I personally feel like could have been avoided had I just had somebody there by my side. And some things I did take from my sister, watching her grow up as well. But, we both were coming from the same thing. So it's like she really didn't have a role model either. So we kind of was each other role models in a sense, if you want to put it like that. So when I said about the contradiction of, when I said that me not allowing my past to hold me hostage, and I was saying I was contradicting myself in many ways. I was, because by me holding on to that trauma and blocking it out and not dealing with it, I just hid it, but I also became like bonded to my trauma, which caused me to show up in an unhealthy way in relationships and friendships and anything that I did, because I was acting out of not wanting to be hurt by people, but at the same time I was acting out as far like the decisions that I made, they basically played a big part in my trauma. Because had I been a healthier version of myself, I would have been able to make better decisions and show up better for myself. And I'm not going to say that I was always in a foster home, but as far as I can remember, I was in the system long enough to where it played a big part of my life. It had a big effect in my life. And I know you're probably sitting there thinking like it will never get better or you will never get out the system, but I personally feel like it's what you make it. You can allow it to keep you hostage, or you can allow it to be something that you grow from. Because looking back on it, out of everything that I went through, I wouldn't take it back. Because had I not went through the things that I went through, I wouldn't be as strong as I am now. Like, I wouldn't be able to handle certain things in certain situations now had I not went through what I went through. And also, it allowed me to help other people and help young women like you through your situation and what you're going through right now. And if I could save every young woman from being in the system or just being affected in a negative way by the system, I would do it in a heartbeat, because I would want somebody to do it for me. This podcast is like a safe space. I want you guys to be able to just grow from it. I want you to be able to heal. I want this to be something that you can look forward to every week. You know how sometimes like you have something you just enjoy and you look forward in doing. I want this to be that something. Now, we will go over God's word. Like, we will be in the Bible. We will be reading, because I also want to teach you guys God's word and lead you to Christ, because our true happiness is within Christ. And all that looking for love and validation, you can seek high and low, but you're not going to find it in any man, any physical item, any friendship, any drug, none of that. You're just going to keep chasing it and keep chasing it and keep chasing it until you burn yourself out. And I want to rewind back to me talking about my trauma and holding it, because I will say that I didn't even know that I was operating in a space of trauma. I didn't even know that I was bleeding on people until I got married and my husband started exposing me for the person that I was. And it hurt because it's just like I thought I was like one of the nicest, kindest person in the world, but it was just like he put a mirror in my face and had me like really look at myself. Like he didn't physically put a mirror in my face, but I'm just saying, like, speaking in terms to say, like, he showed me who I really was. And once he showed me who I was, it was like I had no choice but to change, because a lot of the things that I was doing was based off of responding out of trauma. And not saying that every decision that I made was bad, because some of the decisions that I made them based off of me thinking that I knew what was best. But all that was just learned behavior fighting for survival mode. And so it wasn't good. And like he pretty much showed me who I was. So like I had to do the work and I had to face myself. I had to take the mask off and look at myself. And I want to ask you, young lady, something. When you take off all the layers and you take off everything, you take off the mask, you take off the makeup, you take off the nice watch, the nice necklace, the nice earrings, the nice, finest, fanciest glasses, you take out the latest bundle. When you strip yourself out of all of that, when you take away the skills that you have, when you take away what you can offer people, what are you left with? What are you looking at standing in the mirror? Do you know? Can you see yourself? Or do you see somebody who you created based out of trauma? Well, based off trauma. I'll say, like, me and the little girl who I ignored for years because I didn't want to deal with what she went through, and I tried to cover it up as a woman as a woman being older and just trying to live life. And it was like I was going nowhere fast. Like, the little girl inside of me was just screaming and wanting to be heard, wanting to be seen, wanting to be loved, wanting to be all of those things. And I continued to neglect her because I was trying to cover her and just trying to put her in the back of my mind so that I didn't have to deal with her. When all the while I should have been dealing with her. I should have been healing her. I should have been talking to her. I should have been loving on her, because that's all she really wanted. And that's just like you, ladies, whether you are older or younger and you've been through it, or you're going through it, or you've been through it and you don't know how to heal from it. I fought with her for so long. But then I finally had to, I'm going to tell you what I did. I sat down one day and I wrote her a letter. And I apologized for all the things that she did not experience. And when you do that, when I did that, I addressed her feelings. I acknowledged her. And I allowed her to have a voice. Because sometimes that's all we want is a voice. But I say all this to say, what you're going through, it's not going to last always. What you're going through, you're not going through it for yourself. Believe it or not, what you're going through to help someone else. Someone else is waiting on your testimony. Someone else is waiting on you to speak so that they can be free. So you have to do the work and put in the time. And the only way to do that is to continue to do the work. Call on God, depend on God, speak to God. He'll speak back. Listen to him. And you'd be surprised how far he can take you. But I'm here to tell you, you can no longer do it on your own, because it's not going to work. You're going to continue to run yourself into a brick wall like I did. You're going to get burnt out. And that's what God allowed me to do. He allowed me to get burnt out. It's almost like a child who is having a tantrum and they just cry and yell and scream so much and so long to the point where they get tired, and it's just like they surrender and they give up. And that's the same thing God did with me. He allowed me to burn myself out to the point where it was just like I had no choice but to come to him. And the moment that I did, he seen that I was ready. I want you ladies to walk in purpose and know that you have something bigger on your life than what it is right now. I thank you for tuning in with me. I drop an episode every week. If you guys want to get in contact with me, all the links are on my website. All you have to do is go to healher.info and I can be reached there. And all my socials you can go to. Those links are on my website as well. You can reach me on TikTok. You can reach me on Instagram. And you can reach me on Facebook. Or you can even reach me through email. If there's anything you want to talk about, if there's anything that you have a question about, or you just want to state your opinion, or if you want my opinion on something, just reach out to me and I'll do my best to get back to you. But I just want you ladies to know that there's somebody here fighting for you. There's somebody here wanting to see you win. There's somebody here that loves you. There's somebody here that knows what you're going through. So don't think that you're in it alone, because you're not. You ladies be blessed and be well. Stay safe and stay prayed up. I want to thank you so much for taking the time out to listen to this podcast. I pray that it has blessed you in the same way that it is blessing me. I live to serve you ladies, and I pray that you continue to walk in purpose, on purpose. And if you don't remember anything I said today on this podcast, I want to leave you with this. It's from Isaiah 58:10-11. And if you offer yourself to the hungry and satisfy the afflicted one, then your light will shine in the darkness, and your night will be like noonday. The Lord will always lead you, satisfy you in a parched land, and strengthen your bones. You will be like a watered garden, and like a spring whose water never runs dry. When you walk with God, your water will never run dry. And he will continue to bless you abundantly. But just know overall that your story can help someone else. So please don't be afraid to share it. Let your light shine and allow others to see it. I love you, my loves.